one of PCOL's interns from Princeton Seminary. I am coming to you today from California, where I've been for a couple of weeks now. So today for our word of encouragement, I'm going to read a passage from The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, which happens to be my favorite book. Now some of you may be familiar with this story, but at its core it's about two friends on a long journey far from home. They are on a dangerous mission from which they might not return. And by the time they are in the last leg of their journey, they had already been through so much and they were so worn. And now we find them in this passage in the very worst spot of all, in the land of their enemy, a land of deep darkness, of ash and dust and smoke where the sun doesn't shine. Now I'm going to share this passage with you today because despite the cheery introduction that I've given it, I find hope in it.
Frodo sighed and was almost asleep before the words were even spoken. Sam struggled with his own weariness, and he took Frodo's hand, and there he sat silent till deep night fell. Then at last, to keep himself awake, he crawled from the hiding place and looked out. The land seemed full of creaking and cracking and sly noises, but there was no sound of voice or of foot. Far above the mountains of shadow in the west, the night sky was still dim and pale. There, peeping among the cloud rack, above a dark tor high up in the mountains, Sam saw a white star twinkle for a while. The beauty of it smote his heart as he looked up out of the forsaken land, and hope returned to him. For like a shaft, clear and cold, the thought pierced him that, in the end, the shadow was only a small and passing thing. There was light and high beauty forever beyond its reach. Now for a moment, his own fate and even his master's ceased to trouble him. He crawled back into the brambles and laid himself by Frodo's side, and putting away all fear, he cast himself into a deep, untroubled sleep.
J.R.R. Tolkien, the author of this book, happened to be a lifelong devout Catholic. He wrote in a letter once about this book that it is fundamentally religious. Now, I've always loved this passage, but now I find it especially comforting because I can't help but see that beauty, the beauty in the light of the stars, comes from God himself, the creator and Lord of all. And it's that kind of beauty that can give us hope. Because that light and beauty, no darkness can touch. Now we're living in an anxious and uncertain time. I know I feel it myself every day, and I know I'm not alone. And yet today, there's still light and beauty and goodness that no darkness can touch. May that knowledge, with the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, bring you peace today. Godspeed.